I have just over 8,000 Blu-rays and 4Ks. So when I pull them all off the wall, it's my whole living room in stacks like 4 feet tall. My name's Beau. I am Critic After Dark. I just watch a lot of movies. It was mostly my wife's idea, to be honest, because I watched probably 30 a week, and she was like, talk about them with people and stuff and write about them and stuff. I'm like, that's a good idea. I ended up just taking Critic After Dark because I remember when I was a kid, there was a channel that was After Dark specials, and here in Canada at a certain time they would play all the movies that I wasn't supposed to be watching, so I would stay up late to turn on that channel and watch the bad After Dark movies. I'll just call myself Critic After Dark. All right, that works perfect. To just be able to get on and talk to people and tell your stories and what made you happy when you were a kid and reminisce like you are a kid, basically. Just enjoying this YouTube experience. It's really fun. I mostly do stuff with Brendan and Sam from Our Life in Horror. I'm on there with them just talking movies and hanging out and shooting the shit. I love the collaborating with people on YouTube. I'm a pretty big hermit. I don't really leave my house a whole lot, so having a community on YouTube to talk horror movies, it's been excellent. I think I've noticed just how much everybody loves the community. There's hardly any negativity, and everybody's just there having a good time. Anybody that ever wants to collab with me, I'm open to collab with anybody and anytime and talk about anything. I had a bunch of extra movies I was selling. I posted an ad on Facebook Marketplace, and Brendan showed up here to buy a few of them off with me. He was like, hey man, you collect movies? And we started a deep conversation. Just two random guys standing on my front porch talking for 2 hours. Started up an awesome friendship just off selling a couple movies. My first video with them, I was so nervous. Hands were shaking. My throat was just jittery. After about 3 or 4 times, I was just like, this is actually really fun. Anybody that hasn't done it yet and you're nervous to, I highly suggest to just jump in. Once you start it and you're in the video and the video starts progressing and the conversation's happening, you kind of just completely forget you're even on a video. You're just having a good conversation at that point. It's so awesome. I have really bad agoraphobia and I don't leave my house a whole lot. Once in a blue moon, I'll get outside. So this community has meant that much to me. That's why I'm saying that, because it's just really cool to have people to speak to and talk to. It makes you feel like you're part of something. In real life, outside of the internet, there isn't a whole lot of people that love movies like any of us do that are doing this kind of stuff. And it's hard to find people in real life to talk movies with deeply. My favorite thing about this community is you can just have deep conversations and nerd out. All be nerds together. When I was younger, that's the only way you could get stuff. So it might just be associated with growing up in the age of that's how you get it. You go to the local store and you rent a movie off the shelf. So I have always loved buying things and just holding it in my hand. I collected CDs, I collected records, I collected everything basically, VHS tapes and DVDs. Everyone's kind of getting out of the physical media and collecting aspect, including lots of family members were selling their collection. So I just went around and bought everybody's collections off them, and then was just like, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? And just filled out my collection. And now I've stopped that because I've hit a point where I'm practically out of space. This collection I've accumulated has only been in the last 5 years. So I have a disease, believe it or not. You might notice that my movies change behind me every single video. I have just over 8,000 Blu-rays and 4Ks. So when I pull them all off the wall, it's my whole living room in stacks like 4 feet tall. Just play with them, put them all back up in different ways. So my background behind me is always changing, and you'll probably always see new movies you didn't see them in the last video sitting behind me. I wonder if anybody that watches on my YouTube has noticed that my movies change like every single episode. They're probably going, what the heck? That's what I recommend to somebody that wants to get into collecting and feels overwhelmed. Just buy what you want to watch right on the spot there, because then when it arrives, you're so excited to throw it in and watch it. and that's what gets you pumped up. My mom hated horror movies and she didn't let me watch nothing. I remember my stepdad would wake me up at like 11 o'clock at night once she was in bed. He'd be like, all right, it's movie time. And I'd come out in the living room and he'd watch tons of horror. So I have a lot of childhood horror movies. Fright Night, I remember being terrified of that movie. The one that got me the absolute most is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Just the sound at the beginning of it is like seared into my brain. And I also watched The Thing really young as well. I just remember being terrified of all the monsters, especially the dogs when they all morph together. Some scenes like that are just, they live with you forever because you've seen them way too young and you shouldn't have. It's pretty awesome. Those movies will always be your favorites of all time, I find, and nothing can ever beat them because of that nostalgic feeling. There's certain movies from every horror genre that are in my top 50 horror movies of all time. I think it's slashers would be my favorite. I love monster movies, alien movies. Sci-fi horror is one of my favorite genres. I even like the borderline horror. I love apocalypse movies, 2012 and Independence Day and Armageddon. You know that, Onslaught, Day After Tomorrow. My taste is pretty out to lunch, basically. That's why I always say on my channel to never 100% trust my review and watch the movie and get your own taste, because I might love this movie and you might just think it's an abomination. It's like watching a whole different genre of movie making. What I push on my channel is that if you haven't seen a movie, it's brand new. If you don't know anything about it, why does it matter what year it came out? It could end up being one of the greatest movies you've ever seen. It's happened to me. I watched a silent film for the first time a couple of years ago, and it blew my mind. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I was sucked in from the moment it's fired up. It's just a totally different experience because it's from a totally different era. We're talking over 100 years old. Sometimes you can get that feeling if you watch a lot of modern movies that you're getting kind of burnt out and you need something different. It's a brand new experience, and for anybody that's just craving something new, go back and start watching some of the classics. For the most part, I say give everything a chance. I've found so many that are just under the radar. No one ever heard of this movie, and it ends up being one of my all-time favorites. I know this is a ridiculous, feels like bullshit answer, but it's the honest to God truth. It was last night. I have anxiety and I don't leave my house a whole lot. I went to the movies last night, which I don't do very often. I went to see Smile 2. It ended up kind of blowing my mind where I couldn't even look at the screen. I had to actually look down for a couple minutes. Now, take into consideration that I do get anxiety when I'm outside of my house, so it might have made the experience even better. There's so many that I find that are very creepy. Long Legs from this year got me pretty good in the theater. To me, horror means just a buttload of fun. I've never really taken it too seriously. It's been something that's got me through my whole life, to be honest. I absolutely love the ideas in horror. With horror, I find the creativity is the best. How many vampire movies have we seen? How many possession movies? Don't even get me started on zombies. Every genre has been done 1,000 times, thousands of times in some cases. So to constantly keep people coming back and interested, it's a lot of work. For example, look at the superhero movie genre. Throughout the 2010s, it was the movie genre. And now it's dying. It lasts about 15 years. The horror movie genre, it's forever. It will be there long past my lifetime and everybody's. It will always be going strong because everyone loves a good thrill. They're my comfort movies, which is everybody that loves horror understands that. People that don't love horror think you're insane. So I throw them on whenever I'm cooking, whenever I'm cleaning, whenever I'm in a bad mood. My second favorite genre of movies is ancient martial arts, classic Chinese style and Japanese style martial arts movies. I love them both. Those are my two favorite genres of movies. My favorite music genre is metal. Horror and metal go hand in hand. They basically lived together in the 1980s. Something about it. I like dark stuff. Creeps me out. When it comes to anxiety and what we do here on YouTube, movie watching in general, video games, all of the outlets, music, without these outlets, I'm guessing a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today, because they're very good coping mechanisms. You just connect with something else that feels like you feel, and you connect with people that are interested in it. It makes you realize that you're not alone. It feels deep. It feels deeper than just talking movies and stuff. It just feels like a weird connection. To find out all these classics are made in Canada, things like My Bloody Valentine, Ginger Snaps is one of my favorites. I love their sisterhood in that movie. The practical effects are awesome. It's got everything. It's a love story, it's gory, it's brutal. David Cronenberg, some amazing movies came out of him, like The Fly. The Fly is one of the greatest body horror, if not the greatest body horror movie ever made. They had The Brood, Pontypool, the feeling of him just sitting in that in a radio station and getting phone calls from a world doing something, no spoilers obviously, from a world doing something happening outside, and you don't know what's going on. It's so well done. And that movie does a pretty good job of portraying just that I'm trapped in this small town. It's a snowstorm. You can't leave. And that is true. Like, that actually happens here. Mostly slashers, to be honest. I love the Scream franchise for comfort. I just love the fall atmosphere. Movies that have leaves falling. It's comfort time of year. Love the Friday the 13th franchise. Seen those movies hundreds of times. More modern ones, The Pope's Exorcist. Not a very highly acclaimed movie, but I personally loved it. It might be I got comfort for Russell Crowe, I guess. Unhinged was fucking excellent. And oh man, did he ever do a good job. Honestly, I gained a new appreciation for him. I don't think I've honked since watching that movie. I dream that Jordan Peele's Christmas movie is frickin' amazing, because I was looking forward to that so much this Christmas, and it got pushed into next year. Jordan Peele, to me, is one of the most unique modern horror movie directors going. Like, I just love the idea that he's gonna make a Christmas horror movie. I hope that this YouTube community, the horror movie community, just gets bigger and more people join. I just want it to be like, oh my God, community, and everyone's just talking to everybody and there's no competition between people. Every live I join by somebody, all of a sudden I'm welcome. So I just hope that continues and keeps going and stays nice and friendly. And the idea of getting more people interested in movies so that they don't die away as an art form one day is also awesome, right? Because then I'll never shut up and he'll just be like, oh, like, let me speak. And I just blah, 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 blah. Like I never got to talk before, basically.